Alright, today we're going to go over the algebraic expressions worksheet. Remember, there's going to be at least one mistake. There might be two or three. Alright, so pay attention. Alright, number 1 says determine the base and exponent for 8 to the 4th. So the base is the big 8, and the exponent is the little 4. If you did 8 to the 4th to get 4,096, you did 8 to the 4th, but you didn't do what the question asked. So hopefully you actually paid attention and understood the directions. Alright, number 2 says identify the terms in the expression 6x cubed minus 17x plus 5. Remember, expression is just a mathematical phrase, and terms means kind of like the parts. So there's 3 parts. The first part is 6x cubed. Remember, terms are broken up by addition and subtraction. So 6x cubed is all one term, so the first term is 6x cubed. The second is minus 17x. Notice I did not forget the negative sign. If you forgot the negative sign, that's where you made a mistake. The third is just 5. You can put plus 5 if you want, but it's really just 5. And that's it. Alright, so describe using the order of operations the method to evaluate 3 minus 8 squared divided by 4 plus 1. Alright, so you have to remember PEMDAS. So if I was going to describe using your operation, the first thing I would say is there are no parentheses. So I don't do anything of that. Then the next thing I see is an exponent. So I do 8 squared. So 8 squared is what I do first. 8 squared is 64. That's why I end up with 3 minus 64 divided by 4 plus 1. Now, there is no multiplication. So there's none of that. I have to do division. So I have to do this 64. I have to do 64 divided by 4, which is 16. So I get 3 minus 16 plus 1. Now it's just addition and subtraction from left to right. So I'm going to do 3 minus 16, which is negative 13 plus 1, which I end up with negative 12. So that's my final answer right there, negative 12. Now, before we go on to the next section, you'll see in the instructions that it says evaluate. Now remember, evaluate usually means you're going to have a number answer. Another way to think of evaluate is plug and chug. As in, I'm going to give you a value, and you're going to plug it in, and then simplify it using the order of operations. Alright, so number 4 says x minus 8 when x equals 2. So the first thing I like to do is I like to write, wherever I see a variable, I put an empty set of parentheses. So I say empty parentheses minus 8, and then I plug in 2. So X was my starting quarterback. He got hurt, so 2 has to take his spot. He has to go exactly where that guy was in. 2 minus 8 is negative 6. There's my final answer. Alright, number 5, very similar. 3x plus 14 when x equals negative 3. So instead of x, I'm going to write empty set of parentheses. Alright, he got hurt. He's gone. Now, who's the backup? Negative 3. Negative 3 takes his spot. Now, remember, when I do PEMDAS, there's nothing going inside the parentheses, so that's gone. There are no exponents. There's multiplication, because that means multiplication. 3 times negative 3 is negative 9 plus 14. Negative 9 plus 14 is just 5. So that's my final answer right there. See, evaluate gave me just a number answer, 5. Alright, number 6, there's 2 ways to do it, but both of them start where you plug in 5 for x. So I put empty set of parentheses, empty set of parentheses plus 4, and I'm going to plug in 5. Now, I always look inside my parentheses, and 5 plus 4 is 9, and that 5 just drops down. So I have 5 times 9, which is 45. That's the easiest way to do it. But the good thing is this kind of proves that our distributive property does not change the value, Because if you have 5 times 5 plus 4, you could use the distributive property like we talked in class. You know, this outside 5 is the pizza delivery guy. He's got to drop off pizza at 5's house and 4's house. 5 times 5 is 25, plus 5 times 4 is 20. Oh, look, it gives you 45. So it didn't matter whether you used the distributive property or you used order of operations, you still should have got 45. All right, good way to prove that distributive property does not change the value. All right, number 7, we have x squared minus 9 when x equals 6. So once again, wherever I see an x, I write empty set of parentheses. See how the little 2's out there? I think this is the most important time to use that method with empty parentheses in case that 6 was a negative. All right, so I have parentheses squared minus 9. Now inside that parentheses goes 6. 6 squared is 36 minus 9. Now remember, I had to do 6 squared first because I do exponent before subtraction. 36 minus 9 is 27. Okay, that's it. All right, now the next set says simplify. Simplify, a good way to think about that is you might have an algebraic expression as your answer, or you might have letters and numbers as the answer. And most importantly, you have to remember like terms. If you don't know what like terms are, you're going to struggle with simplifying. Like terms have to be the same variable to the same degree or the same exponent. That's where people are going to make mistakes, okay? So let's go into these. All right, 9y minus 14y. So I have y, I have y. That means they are like terms. So they are like terms. It's almost like you have 4. There's 9y sitting there, and there's so you have 14 negative y's, you have 9 positive y's. Look, those will cancel. And you're left with negative 5 y's. Or the easiest way to think of it is 9 minus 14 is negative 5, and the y just hangs out. Right? Notice when you have like terms, the variable does not change. That's a big deal. The variable did not change. Variable stayed the same. The only time your variable can change is if you're multiplying, and we're not multiplying here. All right, number 9, we have 11x plus 6y minus 2x plus 3y. Now, like terms are x's and x's. So I always start out with the first like term, and then I try to find the other one. I always underline. 11x minus 2x is 9x. Then I cross them off because they're gone. I don't want to get confused and actually use them twice. I have 6y. I have 3y. They are like terms. So I have plus 9y. That's my final answer. Because there are no more like terms. Okay? That's it for number 9. All right, number 10 is using the distributive property twice. So I have 3 times the quantity x plus 4 minus 6, or minus the quantity 6 plus 2x. So remember, 3 is outside parentheses. Whenever you see parentheses, you need to think distributive property. So in case you forgot, the distributive property says I have one thing outside a set of parentheses, with addition or subtraction going on, and I say that A is the pizza delivery guy. He's got to deliver pizza to B's house and C's house. So the parentheses says that's the start of his route. When it closes it, that's the end of his route. So A times B is AB, A times C is AC, and the plus sign in the middle. All right? So 3 is the pizza delivery guy. He's got to deliver pizza to X's house and 4's house. We get 3x plus 12. Now minus right here. You can think of it as the opposite of everything inside, or I like to think of it as a minus 1. So minus 1 goes to 6's house and 2x. So I end up with minus 6 plus 2x. 3x and 2x, because see now it looks just like number 9, where I'm finding like terms. X's go with x's. The non-variables go with the non-variables, or the constants is another way we say that. 3x plus 2x is 5x. 12 minus 6 is 6. Final answer. All right, number 11, really simple. Remember, it has to be the same variable to the same exponent. So 3x squared is only a like term with, and this should have a little 2 here, 5x squared. They are not like terms. The little 2 does nothing to the 3. It's only attached to the x. So 3x squared plus 5x squared is 8x squared. Cross them off. Minus 5x minus 3x is minus 8x. Final answer. X and x squared are not like terms. They can never be combined. All right? They are not like terms. 12 is really simple. It's 4 to the 4th. So I have 4 to the 4th, which is 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 is 256. Now 13, and this is important, guys, the negative 4 is inside the parentheses. So that means the negative 4 is attached to the exponent. It is affected by the exponent. So it's negative 4 times negative 4 times negative 4 times negative 4, which negative times the negative is a positive. Negative times the negative is a positive. 2 positive gives you positive. So this also gives you 256 positive. Okay? Now 14 is where it gets a little tricky. And although it won't really matter between 14 and 15 if you don't understand it, if I made that an even exponent, so if I made it not 5, but like 4 or 6, it would matter. So, but this actually means negative 1 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. It does not mean negative 2 times negative 2. That's the next one. Because exponent comes before multiplication. This actually means negative 1 times 2 to the 5th. You have to do the exponent first. So you get negative 1 times positive 32. Final answer is negative 32. 15, you get the same exact answer, but you get there a different way. So be careful. I might ask you how you got that. So since the negative 2 is in parentheses, you actually got it by negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. Negative times a negative is a positive. So I get positive 4 times negative 2. That gives me negative 8 times negative 2, which gives me positive 16 times negative 2, which is negative 32. That's what you get if you get into the calculator. So there is a long way to do it to prove they're a little bit different. Okay, even though you get the same answer. All right, 16 is 3 to the 5th, which is 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. 3 to the 5th is, I believe, 243. Let me just double check. And I'm right. 17. We have 5 to the 3rd, which is 5 times 5 times 5, which is 125. 18. 2 to the 8th, which is just 2 8 times. I'm not going to write that out. Which is 256. 19. 8 squared equals 64. Because it's 8 times 8. All right? That's the first page. Done. All right, number 20 is just like the previous page, numbers 4 to 7, but it's just a little bit more complicated stuff. So the first thing I do, step 1, is wherever I see a variable, I write empty set of parentheses. So I say empty set of parentheses to the 4th, plus 3, empty set of parentheses. Now 2 goes in with x, so 2 has to go into the first one. Negative 8 has to go in that one. Now I just do my PEMDAS. Remember, PEMDAS, there's nothing going inside those parentheses, so there's no parentheses to worry about. I see an exponent. That's why I do 2 to the 4th to get 16. Cross it off. Now there's some multiplication right here, so I do that next. So I get 16 minus 24. Now I can do my subtraction, which is negative 8. That should be your final answer, negative 8. All right, so same exact concept. This time I'm going to say 9 blank parentheses plus 8 blank parentheses. 4 goes in the first set, 5 goes in the next set. Now it's just multiplication. So I'm doing PEMDAS, guys. If you're lost, I want to see PEMDAS on your paper every time. No parentheses, no exponent, multiplication. 9 times 4 is 36. Cross it off. 8 times 5 is 40. That's all the multiplication. Plus sign still in the middle. So now I do my addition. 36 plus 40 is 76. That's my final answer. All right, 22. We have x plus y. And that's a 4, x equals 4, over x minus y. So guys, when you have fractions, you just focus on the top, focus on the bottom, and then you don't do any dividing until the end, if it's possible. So I'm going to put my empty parentheses, x plus y, see, empty parenthesis plus empty parenthesis, over empty parenthesis minus empty parenthesis. X takes 4, y takes 9, 4 plus 9, this is negative 4, negative 4, negative 4. Negative 4 plus 9 is positive 5. Negative 4 minus 9. If I borrow $4, if I owe somebody $4 and I borrow 9 more, I owe them $13. All right? You can just put that in your calculator if you're not sure to get the negative 13. And since that's not a pretty fraction, it's not going to divide nicely, and it's not a nice decimal, I'm going to leave it as just that, 5 over negative 13. That's more accurate. All right, 23, we have 4 times the quantity, x minus 2y, all over x plus y. This time x is 4, and y is negative 2. Remember, it's evaluate, so I should have a number answer. So 4 times, and I'm going to put 4 minus 2, and I'm going to put negative 2 in parentheses. I can even put the 4 in parentheses if I want. All over 4 plus negative 2. Now, if you just want to do the bottom real quick, because it's super easy, you can do that. Look, that's just 4 plus negative 2 is 2. But here, you have to do inside the parentheses. And you have to do negative 2 times negative 2. It's not, that's just, you have to do negative 2 times negative 2. So this turns into 4 times 4. Negative times the negative is a positive, so it's plus 4. 4 plus 4 is 8, so I end up with 4 times 8 all over 2. So I'm with 32 over 2. And guys, that goes down nicely, so your final answer should be 16. Alright? This one's probably the most missed one, so pay attention to the details there. If you have any questions, let me know. Alright, 24, we have 7x squared plus 12x minus x squared minus 40. So I'm going to combine my like terms. 7x squared minus 7x squared, that's positive 6x squared. 12x and negative 40x is minus 28x. This is going to go into 36x minus 28x because I squared the 6. 36x minus 28x is just 8x, and that's my final answer. Okay? All right, 25. We have like terms as 4x squared and minus 6x squared. That gives me minus 2x squared. Now remember, guys, this little 2, this little exponent, does not affect anything but the x. So this actually is done. You can't do any more to this. X, I cross them off just so I don't accidentally use them again. X and minus 3x is minus 2x. And guys, that's your final answer. X squared does not affect the coefficient. Okay? All right, 26. As soon as I see parentheses, I have to think distributive property or the pizza delivery guy. So 12 is going to deliver pizza at n's house and negative 3's house. So I get 12n minus 36. Now 4 is going to deliver pizza to n's house and negative 13's house. So I get plus 4n. Positive times the negative is a negative. So I get negative 52. Now we just go back to our like terms. n's go with n's, so I get 16n. Cross them off, because I'm done with them. Minus 36, minus 52, that's minus 88. Okay? Alright, 27. 5 goes to the n squared and the n. Remember, pizza delivery guy, I see parentheses, I gotta think distributive property. 5n squared plus 5n. Remember, n squared and n are not like terms, they cannot be combined. That little exponent 2 doesn't do anything. Negative 3 goes to both. Notice the negative sign is with the 3, so it's minus 3n squared. Minus and minus is a positive 9n. Combine my like terms. 5n squared goes with negative 3n squared, so I get 2n squared. Cross it off because I'm done. 5n and 9n is plus 14n. That's my final answer. Alright, that finishes this. Any questions, let me know.